It's past 7 p.m. Today is October 13. We are about to start our regularly scheduled council meeting. We'll proceed with roll call. Mr. Clerk,
Mayor Joseph,
here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Vice Mayor Keys,
Here.
Councilman Bieneme,
Here.
and Councilman Dezume. Mayor, we have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll ask Officer Mercy Noel, who will lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Officer. At this time, we can remain standing and observe a moment of silence for a few seconds before we start. Thank you. We may be seated. Okay. Mr. Deputy Manager, at this time, we'll entertain any addition, deletions, or amendments to the agenda before we start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to remove tab N from the agenda. That's the only change I have, sir.
And as in Nancy?
Yes, sir.
Good. And, okay. Any comment about tab N?
No comment, sir. We're still working on the project with the developer. We anticipate being ready for the next council meeting to
That's
move
it?
forward. Yes, sir.
Okay, Madam Attorney, should we consider agenda being set so we can continue the meeting?
Yes, sir. Agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. We have a few special presentation. Item 5, we have 2 special presentations, I believe. At this time, we'll ask council to please go down and okay, so here, the city of North Miami, we always try our best to honor and recognize the people who have made their marks in the community. So today we are honoring a very important person, Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr. I believe he chose to retire. I don't know why. He looks like a 22-year-old. It's a proclamation from the city of North Miami presented to Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr. Whereas Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr., principal of Natural Bridge Elementary, was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and is married to his wife, Randy McBride, for 37 years and have 2 children. There are like 12 of them, 12 whereases. I don't know if I should read all of them. Whereas Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr. holds a master's degree in science in elementary education and education, leadership certification from Nova Southeastern University, and Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr., a principal for 11 years and currently serving his 8th year as the principal of Natural Bridge Elementary School. And whereas Mr. McBride Jr. believes that leadership is where teamwork begins, where he strives to do his best every day for himself and others. And whereas Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr. beliefs are guided by 2 beliefs he learned from the Boy Scouts of America: do a good turn daily, and good. Can you say it for them?
Do your better best. If good, better, best.
Good, better, good, better, best. That's a tongue twister. Good. Do you do and good, better, best? Never let
rest until your good is better and your better is best.
I couldn't say it any better. And whereas Mr. Frank V. McBride Jr. continues to lead as a member of the United Way Leadership Circle, he was elected to the Town Commission of the town of Surfside and served as Vice Mayor for 2 years. And now, therefore, in consideration of the foregoing, on behalf of the entire council, we do proclaim today to be Frank V. McBride Jr. Day in the city of North Miami.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm proud to be a principal in North Miami. Tonight I have my proud co-worker, Mr. Lacuti, principal of the great North Miami High School, our fabulous region director, Mr. Andy J. Pierre-Louis, and my fabulous wife, Randy. Natural Bridge sits in a residential area that not many people come by, and that's okay, because we do fine just being by ourselves. I'll let you know that we are the only A school rated by the governor in the state of Florida in North Miami. But next year, I know, Mr. Lacuti, all the principals in North Miami, you're going to amaze. North Miami is an upcoming city with a lot of good things in education and a lot of good things that you do for children. And Mr. Mayor, I need you to keep that Parks and Recreation going and that new park on 135th Street so my children have somewhere to play.
And Mr. Lacuti, thank you very much for being here. Oh, picture. Oh.
All right, Mayor.
I know we don't see Mr. Lacuti too often, and it's only because of Mr. McBride that we are blessed with your presence today. There's another gentleman sitting next to you, but I can't come up with his name. Mr. Pierre-Louis? Thank you very much for being with us. At this time, we'll ask the chief to come forward and do the Officer of the Month. Okay, the chief is not here? Ah, yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay. You guys always confuse me. I don't know.
Good evening. It is a pleasure to be here to honor one of the many men and women that serve our community. The North Miami Police Department Officer of the Month for September 2018 is Officer Omar Rowe. Officer Omar Rowe is a 4-year veteran. He's currently assigned to the Patrol Division Midnight Shift. On August 29th, during the midnight hours where most of us are safely asleep in our homes, a subject armed with a knife, broke inside a victim's apartment. The subject began to lurk in the dark quietly within the victim's apartment, but stumbled on something and knocked over a vase. The victim, awakened by the noise, quickly turned on the lights, and the subject, who had already made his way into the bedroom, attempted to hide near the victim's footboard of her bed. The victim, in desperation, armed herself with a baseball bat. The subject fled the apartment, and the victim quickly dialed 911 and gave a detailed description of the subject. Officer Rowe, who was working that night, responded without hesitation and began a systematic search of the area. Quickly, his diligence paid off as he located a subject matching the description. During his investigation, Officer Rowe searched the subject and located a large knife hidden inside the subject's pants. Also, a records check revealed that the subject had been arrested over 20 times for violent crimes to include armed robbery, armed burglary, resisting arrest with violence, and will be here all night if I continue with his rap sheet. The victim came by, quickly identified the subject, and this subject was arrested and prevented from continuing to be a predator in our city. Officer Rowe's diligence, his alertness, his training that night were on display as he again got rid of a predator that most likely would have terrorized other residents in our city. So please join me in recognizing Officer Rowe as the Officer of the Month for September 2018. a certificate of recognition for Officer Monroe. Again, September Officer of the Month for 2018. Congratulations, sir.
No words from the assistant chief?
No. I can barely walk.
She got a
We're just
broken
here-
foot.
We're just here to support
Yeah,
him
but your
and
foot
say
has
good
nothing
job.
to do with what you missing.
Just want to recognize Roll. He's an outstanding officer. He does well on his beat, and we want to make sure that we keep that he keeps up the good work. All right, we're really proud of him.
All right. CD events announcement by Miss Baker.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, North Miami neighbors, and guests. I'm Unicia Baker, Senior Public Information Officer, and it is my pleasure to share some of our upcoming events, programs, and outreach initiatives with all of you. The Miami-Dade Transportation Planning Organization's next charrette is on Wednesday, November 14th, 6 to 8 p.m. at McDonald Senior Center. That's located at 17051 Northeast 19th Avenue in North Miami Beach. The TPO is studying the direct relationship between transit and land development for all 6 strategic Miami Area Transit or SMART Rapid Transit corridors. This second charrette will be conducted for the Northeast Corridor, which runs from downtown Miami to Aventura. These charrettes will include interactive activities where members of the community will provide input on a preferred vision for the Rapid Transportation Corridor. Also on Wednesday, November 14th at 3 p.m., join the city of North Miami for a groundbreaking ceremony commemorating the restoration of the historic Irons Manor Fountain. The 90-year-old fountain is strategically located at the intersection of West Dixie Highway and Northeast 132nd Street at Northeast 9th Avenue and predates the incorporation of the city of North Miami. It is now recognized among the ranks of the county's significant historic sites. On Thursday, November 15th, please consider making a donation to the North Miami Education Foundation, Incorporated. Your support will help North Miami students realize the dream of a college education. Gifts can only be made using a qualified debit, credit, or gift card. A web link for donations is available at northmiamifl.gov. It's time to think big and explore the world of STEM at the Art Sci Way at the Wortham Conference, which is making its debut in North Miami on Thursday, November 15th from 5 to 8 p.m. here on North Miami's grounds. At this year's conference, students in grades K through 12 will have fun while exploring STEM fields during an evening filled with dynamic presenters, interactive hands-on experiences, and other mind-blowing showcases. Admission is free. Visit northmiamifl.gov for a registration link. The North Miami Turkey distribution will take place on Friday, November 16th at 10 a.m. outside of the North Miami Police Department. This event is open to North Miami residents only. There is 1 turkey per household. A photo ID with proof of North Miami residency is required. Sam Sneak and Team of Hope will host the North Miami Turkey Giveaway at Griffin Park on Saturday, November 17th at 11 a.m. This turkey giveaway is presented by North Miami's elected city clerk, Michael Etienne Esquire, with support from North Miami Councilman Philippe Biename and Councilman Alex Dezume, along with several community partners. This event includes music, children's activities. Visit North Miami's city clerk's office for more information. Monday, November 19th from 6 to 8 p.m., join the Community Planning and Development Department at the Gwen Margolis Community Center for a neighborhood workshop and discussion regarding proposed amendments to land development regulations. Get to know me on Thursday, November 22nd at 10 a.m. for the 44th Annual Winter National Thanksgiving Day Parade. Celebrate over 40 years of holiday tradition with our Know Me Winter Wonderland theme. This year, we will include real snow. Enjoy a fun family morning of spectacular bands, entertaining dance groups, and colorful floats as we celebrate the community and culture of North Miami. To volunteer or to register your community group to participate, email kwarren@northmiamifl.gov or visit northmiamifl.gov/celebrate. Light Up North Miami returns on November 28th at 6:30 p.m. at Mocha Plaza. Celebrate the start of the holiday season at our annual tree lighting in the plaza. Enjoy live holiday music and entertainment, festive refreshments, and a special visit from Santa himself. Applications for the 2019 Leaders in Training program are available. Applications must be submitted by 5 p.m. on Friday, November 30th. The LIT program is for teens interested in building a professional resume before completing high school. The Community Planning and Development Department should be contacted for more details. Their phone number is 305-895-9825, extension 19002. Thursday, November 29th from 5:30 until 7 p.m., the Police Athletic League of North Miami invites you to a ribbon cutting ceremony at their new facility. It's located at 12334 West Dixie Highway. PAL's programs and services will be showcased. There will be refreshments. Call 305-891-0294, extension 24115 for details. The annual Friends of the North Miami Public Library book sale returns on Friday, November 30th until Sunday, December 2nd at the NOMI Library. At this event, thousands of books and other items in more than 30 categories will be on sale. Buy gently used, bestsellers, nonfiction, adult and children's books, media, games, and more. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in our city by first visiting www.northmiamifl.gov, then clicking the Connect with NOMI icon on our homepage, where you can sign up to receive our monthly NOMI newsletter. You can also tune into our free governmental programming on NOMI TV. It's available 24 hours a day through the city's website. Residents may also like the City of North Miami on Facebook and follow @NOMI News on Twitter, or download the My NOMI app. This concludes today's announcements.
Thank you very much, Ms. Timothy. I just want to overemphasize one of the announcements. It's for the one for this Thursday about ArtSci. ArtSci is a highly competitive program that FIU has every year. It's a conference. It used to be just a science, mainly medical science conference geared toward kids so that they can be exposed and engaged at a very early age. And it's a highly competitive, different communities actually compete for it. I've been trying to get it for the past, 3 or 4 years now, and then finally they grant North Miami the opportunity to host it here. It's going to be right there between the plaza and the in front of the police station. So if you have kids, nephews, nieces, please encourage them to come. And there will be, I think they're projecting about 1,500 to 2,000 kids will be here this Thursday. So this is an event that you don't want to miss. Even if you don't have kids, you're welcome to come and join and see what FIU is really doing. And North Miami is very proud, and we are very glad that this event is we are finally hosting the ArtSci Wertheim medical, not just medical, it's art and science. I believe that we're working on a press conference to start at 3:30, Miss Chief of Staff. Yeah.
I think the date of the press conference is pending confirmation.
It's pending? Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, before the next presentation continues, point of personal privilege to recognize County Commissioner Jean Monestim, who has just joined us. So, yeah. Commissioner, good to see you.
Thank you. I was going to do that, but thank you.
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
Alrighty. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Roy Brown, Budget Analyst. I'm going to be talking about OpenGov today. OpenGov is a financial transparency website designed to educate the public and decision makers on how its tax dollars are spent in the city of North Miami. This tool allows you to analyze, compare, download, and share information about the city's budget. Here, you will find information about the city's revenue and expenditures for all funds, including public works, police, capital improvements, water improvements, and more. You can view the data through a variety of interactive charts and graphs. Local governments around the world are asked the same basic questions by its residents. Let's take a look at how OpenGov will give the residents of the city of North Miami easy access to explore the city's budget. Here are some frequently asked questions, like how does the city spend its money? Or how much does the city receive on revenues from taxes? I'll start off with the revenues. When you visit the city's website to access OpenGov, you will be greeted by a welcome screen that you don't see here. This welcome screen will allow you to, it will show you how to navigate through the website. But for tonight, I will be your guide. Note that the graph here is color coordinated. These are different revenue sources that the city has. Taxes, non-revenues, license and permits, intergovernmental revenues, and fines and forfeits. And there are others. There's a summary table at the bottom that houses all of the numerical information that is shown in the graph above. On the left of the chart, you will notice the description of each revenue category. Charges for service, fines and forfeits, license and permits, and more. You can click on any of these revenue sources to expand to see what makes up in the graph above. What's so neat about this software program is it allows you to dive deeper into the city's revenues and the finances, and the expenditures, I'm sorry. So for now, I'll show you a deep dive into the taxes. In 2019, the budget for taxes is $41 million. Ad valorem makes up 28 million, which is roughly 69%. Franchise fees, another 4 million, around 10%. General sales and use tax, another 8%. And this is just a high-level overview of how you can dive deeper and deeper into each revenue category. So if I dive more into ad valorem taxes, we can see what makes it up. Operating tax levy and the discount on taxes. What's also neat about this program is you can scroll to the left to get historical data all the way to 2013. Again, if you scroll down, you get the breakdown, the numbers of what makes up the graph above. I think that's a good preview of the revenues. I will now go into the expenditures. How does the city of North Miami spend its money? Let's dive. One thing I will note about this program is it allows you to view the numbers many different ways so that the average citizen can understand what's going on. There's a percentage graph, there's a stacked graph, there's the line graph, there's the pie graph, and lastly, there's the bar graph. By hovering over each graph, it shows you the percentage change from last year, the prior year. It shows you the total amount budgeted, and it shows you the year-to-date expenditures or revenues, depending on which category you're looking at. I'm going to go back to the pie graph and scroll down to show you the various expenditure categories: capital outlay, personal services, internal services, operating expenses. And once again, just like the revenues, you can scroll to the left and see the historical data that is stored in this cloud. Another high-level overview that I will dive into right now is the budget for the police department. As I click on filters, go to general fund, going to the police department, here's a breakdown of the police expenses. If I scroll down, you notice that their budget is $30 million. Let's dive into it. Personnel. Salaries, $13 million. Holiday pay, employee pension, employee group insurance, workers' comp, social security, This is what makes up the 2019 police department budget. And of course, I can slide to the left and see the actuals for 2018. I can slide even further to see the actuals for 2013. This is the transparency the city needs and the residents want. And this is just a brief overview of what OpenGov has to offer. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Roy. Over the last 5 weeks, we've actually had this program, and I worked with Roy over the last 5 weeks to get the program implemented. The soft launch of the site was today, so it's on the website. Everybody could go on the website and do it. The data in this updates on a daily basis. So as we spend, as expenses are spent, the numbers update. It will update every night through the server. It's linked to our ERP system. So everything will be updating on a daily basis. This is the preliminary. It will get deeper. We will have stats. We'll have all of our performance measures on here. We will have crime stats. This OpenGov is when we did move forward to get the software, we saw it as a future for North Miami to answer a lot of the problems and to give the residents the opportunity where they don't have to get myself, the manager, or Roy on the phone. They can go in and look at it in a very simple manner to get the information that they want to review. So we're going to continue to be going over it. It is on the website now. The media campaign will start tomorrow with OpenGov. There will be a video running on Channel 77 for OpenGov. And as we continue to expand it, we're anticipating our next big launch to be somewhere around March for OpenGov, which will get into more details. We'll do our FTEs, the crime stats, all that stuff should be coming around March. We have a schedule of how we're going to be moving forward to have every department on OpenGov. Our budget books that we've been given in the past, the huge budget books that everybody complains about, we're going away from the Excel sheets. We've already uploaded this year's budget in OpenGov. Next year, everybody will be doing the budget in OpenGov, which will give us a better looking budget book and make it more make it easier for everybody, including the residents, to follow along with what we're doing. So.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, this is spectacular. As a guy who sat up here during years when administrations wouldn't tell us anything about them, I'm pleasantly dumbfounded. Are there any other cities in Dade County who are on OpenGov?
You have the city of Pompano, the city of Hollywood, the city of Fort Lauderdale. Those are the three cities similar to our
Coral
demographics.
Gables also has it.
Okay, so we're in line with some pretty good.
Right now, there are only, I believe it's 2,000, about 2,000 cities nationwide that are using OpenGov. Matter of fact, worldwide, because they're using it in other countries as well. So we're on the beginning trend of OpenGov.
And when you send out media stuff, this is just like tailor-made for a e-blast from me. Will the data be the videos and such be the links that I can throw into an e-blast?
It will have a link to OpenGov on there where you can click the link and it'll take people directly to OpenGov. But again, on the main page, when you go to northmiamifl.gov, Citizens Transparency Portal, you click that, you see OpenGov right there. And it takes you right in for you to start doing your thing.
But some of the narrative is what I need, to
Well,
spell out. Because I'm learning about it here tonight, at 7 o'clock for the first time. This is like, wow, mind-bending. If the media stuff has something.
Yeah, and as I say, this is the beginning. There is a video. The video was about almost 3 minutes. I didn't want to do the video tonight. I wanted Roy to do the presentation. You guys will get all of the updates, and it's going to continue rolling out over the course. This is going to be a constant thing for us to encourage the residents to use OpenGov to understand what's going on. So we'll be updating.
I like it. Good presentation, Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, this is a very big step for the city of North Miami. A lot of times, we point out the negatives, what staff is not doing, they mess up. But I think this one makes up for a lot of shortcomings. So a lot of questions that people usually have in citizens forum and and so forth. And I think all of the answers will be right there on OpenGov. Again, kudos to you guys. Thank you very much. So we are on the move after all.
Not just that, Mr. Mayor, how long this software been sitting up there?
Correct. But they
The software has been here for about 2 years, sir.
It's been sitting there for 2 years.
Yes. Well,
At the budget department or the finance
the
department?
budget department.
At the budget department, and they never use it and put it to
let's,
service.
let's look at the positive.
At least,
The-
at least we want to thank staff for finally decided to put it out and make it available to the residents.
Well, I'm in charge of the budget department now, sir.
Mr.
Thank you.
Sorry,
so
Mr.
that pretty much spells transparency, right, with a capital T. All right.
I'm going through this. I like all the pictures. Are we going to be able to pinpoint expenses? Because right now, going through and I'm not seeing.
And when you look at there are 2 tabs on the transparency portal. One is for Tyler, and that's our other transparency model. You see all the checks, every check that's cut every day is on that tab.
Right.
So that one, between the combination of the 2, the OpenGov gives you the high-level overview, lets you pin down on departments what's going on. As you see stuff, you just go into the other portal, and then you can check on checks, what checks the department's cut moving forward.
So we're not going to get a budget looking like this, are we?
We're gonna have we will have a great budget moving forward.
Well, Councilwoman, welcome to the 21st century. We're going to have to get away from the paper.
No, that's
So-
okay. It doesn't have to be on paper, but I gotta see what.
No, your
makes it
budget
all
will be
this.
no. You still have your detailed budget.
I need details.
This
not
is
pictures.
what you're seeing online now.
But you can click on it and the details
The
come
detail
up.
comes up, but the details are all in the system,
Okay.
just like your budget book. They are in the computer on the cloud. This is just grouping everything together, making it pretty so everybody can understand. If you put that detailed budget book out,
So
nobody
what-
still understands.
What will this do to a formal public record request? So we just refer them to OpenGov
Well, no,
Huh?
well, if they're asking a question like, I mean,
if it's there.
when people ask, okay, how much money did the museum spend in 3 years? You go on OpenGov. But now it's easy for any staff person can click on OpenGov, click the museum, and give the numbers right there. You don't have to wait for the budget department to give it to you. Anybody can go on and give you the historical data right now. Everything's there.
Okay. Hurricane preparedness, anything major?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Commander Angelo Brinson, Emergency Management.
Commander, I'm sorry.
I'll take major.
I
it's
said
fine.
major.
Chief
and-
Brunson, great to see you tonight.
Inshallah. Over the weekend, we were monitoring a tropical wave that was trying to form out in the Atlantic, but hopefully yesterday and today it began to break up, so it shouldn't form into anything that would give us any trouble. But as always, we will continue to monitor and provide updates to our residents and our employees if they become necessary.
Thank you. Agenda items A through G, we need a motion.
So moved. Consent agenda approved.
Second.
Have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. That motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 4-0 vote. Tab H. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving and authorizing a new programs, activities, and rental fee schedule for the Parks and Recreational Department for the 2019 calendar year, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Derek Corker, Parks and Recreation Director. What do you have on tab H is just a request for increasing of Parks and Recreation fees. The last time we had an increase was 2015. We're requesting to increase $10 on most of our coverages for our recreation activities and $20 on all rental recoveries. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to take those.
Mr. Mayor, through you, to staff, whomever, How does this affect the tennis staff, tennis pros at Sans Souci and or Pepper Park?
The increase is still in line with the increase that we have with them. They currently have a prorated rate that we are providing them, like a 70-30 split or 80-20 split. So if their fees increase, they will increase as well.
Do they? Who has the ability to set the fee that those tennis pros charge?
Currently, we set the fee that the tennis pros charge as it's comparable to
Other municipalities.
yeah, other municipalities.
So, what change are we instituting with this tonight? We're going from X dollar to Y dollar. What's X and what's Y?
For just the tennis, you mean, or overall?
Yeah,
sir?
just tennis.
Just tennis. So the overall 1 hour fee, 1 hour lesson is $56, which is very low. It'll go up to $66. So we're only asking for a $10 increase, which if they have a 70-30 split, they're still getting 70% of the $66.
I'm under the impression from talking to some of those tennis pros that they could actually be getting much more than that 56 or maybe even 66. If the market would bear, I'm just going to make this number up right now, $125 an hour. And we would get 70% of that 125 versus 70% of the...
No, opposite.
Sorry, if we'd get the 30% versus the 70% of... In other words, if the market would bear a bigger increase and customers are saying, I'd pay a bigger increase, do you need me to address that here tonight now, or...
We can, I would ask that we have a separate conversation. I will work, administration will work with Parks and Recreation and actually meet with the tennis pros to determine what they feel their market rate is for the tennis lessons, and we can come back to you at the next meeting if you like, or offline to discuss the rates and what the potential would be for an increase. I would recommend us approving this, and we can come back and address the tennis one. We'll bring it back to you on moving forward to address the tennis.
When both the customers and the teachers say, I'd pay more for this, you guys are getting away. That's more revenue for the city. Sure, it's more revenue for the pro too, but you know, it's more revenue for the city as well.
We'll definitely look into that.
And I know when I give stuff away for free, it sometimes isn't as valued as great as if I'm actually charging a marketplace rate. So, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. So, I guess we'll open it to the public. The public hearing is open on the item. Item H as in Harry. Fee increases for parks and recreation. I see none, hear none. Public hearing is therefore closed. Any other comments or concerns from the dais?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion made by Vice Mayor Keys to approve tab H. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 4-0 vote. Tab I. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the city administration's selection of Waste Pro of Florida, Inc. to provide sanitation services, further authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement in an amount not to exceed $3,500,000 annually in accordance with the terms, conditions, specifications contained in request for proposals number 64-16-17, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you under tab I is staff's request for council's approval of the Evaluation Committee's recommendation to award a franchise agreement to Waste Pro Florida Incorporated in response to RFP 64-16-17 issued by my office for the purpose of soliciting proposals for the city's sanitation services contract. If you recall, this item was previously submitted by staff and was tabled by council pending the administration's presentation of a comparison of the estimated cost to bring these services in-house. This presentation was carried out by the administration during our last council meeting. So we now come before you once again to request your approval of the proposed recommendation. As further detailed in the council report that was submitted in support of this item, WastePro's proposal was submitted for review and evaluated by the committee based on the content of their proposal, and in particular several concessions that were proposed by WastePro for the benefit of the city. The committee has recommended award of this contract to WastePro. Following the committee's recommendation, staff entered into negotiations with WastePro, during which a number of additional concessions were procured by the administration. Here with me tonight is Mr. Philip Ford, the Assistant Purchasing Director, who has spearheaded this solicitation and who's going to provide you with an overview of the terms and conditions that were negotiated for this contract, as well as the additional concessions which have been agreed to by WastePro, and more importantly, some of the performance and punitive measures included in the contract, which are intended to secure the adherence by WastePro to the level of service which has been clearly demanded and expected by the residents of our community. So Mr. Ford will provide you with an overview at this moment.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'm Philip Ford, the Assistant Director of Purchasing, and I'm going to discuss tonight and present some of the terms and conditions of the contract if so elected to be awarded, specifically talking about the contract administration, how the city intends to enforce the requirements of the contract that is awarded to WastePro. One of the things I also want to mention is that during the process, and we're currently ongoing with negotiations, but thus far we have agreed to some terms and conditions that I look at as a benefit to the city. One of them being a reduction in costs as proposed to what the final agreement cost will be. WastePro's proposal was $29.77 per month for residential units. We were able to negotiate that figure down to 27, I believe that is 89 per month. In addition to that, we have WastePro is going to fund the position of the contract compliance officer, which is going to oversee this contract. Additionally, they are going to provide the contract compliance officer with a brand new F-150 for his services, his duties that are required. So in addition to the negotiations, the solicitation outlined liquidated damages, performance measures for a potential contractor. And so what we have moving forward is measurements that we're going to use to enforce performance. What we have is approximately 10,000 residents that will use the services. And when I say residents, I'm speaking specifically to the residential customers and not the commercial. So we have about 10,000 customers that's going to use WastePro services. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that number as a measuring stick to measure their performance. So what we've done is we've taken the national procurement definition of contract administration, and we've used that to enforce contract performance as we move forward. And one of the things that we're going to be looking at is the measurements are going to be goal-oriented, and they are going to be aimed at ensuring enforcement of the contract's terms and conditions. And additionally, they are going to measure the output and the outcome of the contract. Now, the output is measured by a qualitative and quantitative measurement. In other words, if we have 10,000 residents, we're going to use those numbers to measure the outcome. And then at the end of the day, being every day of service, being every month of the contract, and being every year of the contract, we're going to measure those outcomes, what the desired results are of the contract. So what we've done is we've taken measures internally with the city here. We've created an administrative regulation that requires every department to perform a vendor's performance and or non-performance of each awarded vendor. So with that, we have now a pending contract that we're looking for high-end service to the residents of the city of North Miami. We're looking for the vendor to perform at a high level as well. So looking forward to the measurements of the vendor's performance. We have a matrix of complaints from a resident. And this portion could be from any resident within the city, and it could be in a couple of forms. One is we have a tracking system. You go online, you input your complaint. The second method is to inform the code compliance department, the contract compliance manager, of your complaint. If the contract compliance manager is contacted, he will then input the complaint into the system. And I mention the system because it is very important that for us to track the vendor's performance or lack thereof, we need those complaints to be within the system. The tracking starts from the time the complaint until it is resolved. If the complaint is submitted on Tuesday and 3 p.m. the following day not resolved, that counts as 2 complaints. And so what we have is, in the event there is a complaint, the levy is $200 as liquidated damages assessed against Waste Pro. And again, going back to the figures that I talked about, the number of households in North Miami, we have 10,100. What we've done is we've taken a percentage of the complaints and said this is the threshold per month. We want to have some flexibility, but not a whole lot. So any complaints greater than 0.5% per month, the vendor will be assessed the $200 per complaint per month. Any complaints greater than 4% annually, the vendor will be assessed $200 per complaint. So we have November, and for ease of use, I'll just say 50 complaints is the threshold. We get less than 50, there's no liquidated damages. That happens for 11 months. Less than 50, no liquidated damages. The 12th month, the vendor is terrible, and we have 75 complaints, so we have 80 complaints. Then we go back the entire year. We calculate if the complaints were greater than 4%, and every complaint will be assessed $200. And these are just some of your general complaints. Additionally, we have the same matrix set up for recycling. What I just spoke about was for trash. We have the same thing for recycling. The percentages are different, but it's the same matrix, same format. In addition to, and here's just a list of what we consider complaints where the liquidated damages will be assessed. But in addition to the liquidated damages for the everyday complaints,
we're pretty much dissecting the entire contract tonight, which we've never done for any other bids. I don't know why we are doing this special dissection for Waste Pro tonight, where we've never done it. What's going on? I want to know.
we're not we're not dissecting the contract, Mr. Mayor. We're only going over the contract compliance portion of the contract. And we felt it was important to go over the contract compliance portion because that's the main part. And we've asked Phil to do this just so the council know we have put teeth in the contract. The last contract had no teeth behind it at all, and they weren't being assessed, and that was a problem. You know, it needs to be these penalties that are here. We wanted to show the council that we've, in our negotiation, done the due diligence to make sure there are penalties involved that actually will hurt Waste Pro. Our last contract was nothing. The penalties were minimal, and the penalties weren't being tracked. So we're here tonight to show you, and we can stop the presentation if you like, but just to show you that staff has done the due diligence and let the residents know that we have put the means in place to hold Waste Pro accountable and moving forward should you approve this contract this evening. And
I don't know, if the rest of the council wants to listen to it, fine. But me, I'm
No,
not. I'm
it's fine.
I can get a hold of a copy of it and read it on my own, and have any questions that I do have. I mean, it's.
I understand, and I'm going to have Phil conclude there.
I mean,
I just want to go and.
To me, it's totally futile.
I got you.
You know, at this point.
I got you. I also want to just say we have talked to Waste Pro. There's going to be a marketing campaign to push individuals to let them know who they call if their trash isn't picked up, to call us. We put the complaint in, not to call their council people, because we're going to need to track all of this stuff as it moves forward. That way we can hold them accountable. With that being said, we'll end our presentation there and we'll move forward to this public discussion on the item, sir.
Yeah, we can always.
You know, I'm not gonna get out of the rest of this night without hearing the rest of this presentation. So,
well,
this is Scott Galvin and Waste Pro and garbage privatization.
Well,
Nobody's
Commissioner
getting off
Ashley,
easy tonight.
actually, that was the last page.
Go ahead.
Just so happened.
I've got a laundry list of questions already. So.
That was the last page. So you.
It was. It was. Yes, sir.
Okay, so at this point we'll open it to the public. The public hearing is open on the item.
Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bayshore Drive. First of all, I want to give the city administration credit. This is the first time we have a contract with some teeth in it. My question is, where have we been for the last 5 years? Where have we been? Why didn't we address this? And Mr. Mayor, you're right. One company bid it. It's a shame. There's so many companies out here, and I tell you this, truthfully, our reputation stinks. It stinks just like Broward County. People have redlined us. The garbage contract is very good. You finally got some teeth in it, and I'm happy. It's just funny how this happened before May 14, 2019 elections.
Hi, Laura Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard. Just as a point of reference, I actually found that presentation extremely useful, and I would have actually liked to see longer than 1 millisecond the list of violations that the Waste Pro will incur if they don't do right by the residents. This is one of the issues that matters the most to residents. It's our garbage. And honestly, I think it's great that the staff put together a presentation to show us that there is teeth and there is consequences for shoddy work. It's one of the most agitating things to find garbage coming out of the back of the trucks and littering the neighborhood up, or leaking disgusting water all over your streets. These are the types of things we've all been complaining ad nauseum for the last couple years, and here the staff put together a decent presentation and you cut it short, and I don't understand that. I would have preferred to see the list of things, because off that list are the things that we would be calling about when we have problems, and that's the whole purpose of this, is to give residents the opportunity to complain when there's infractions, and then the city has a mechanism in place to hold them accountable for their infractions. So of all the useful information you could give us, that would have been a really great one to have. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. I thought that the presentation information was helpful, and I wanted to hear it. Before Waste Pro talked about some program where they want to give money to some social good. Is that still there? Okay, I would like, I thought that was a good thing, and I hope that that's included. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open on the item. For anyone who wishes to be heard, please come to the mic and speak your mind. Public hearing is still open.
You're really tempting us to come. William Preventel, 11950.
Can't say I didn't give you guys
Drive.
enough time. That's the whole idea.
Ask enough, I'll come up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that I believe that there are people and portions of the city that are having complications with Waste Pro. I just wanted to add that our particular own route has really functioned reasonably well, reasonably clean, and at one time we were paying over $800 a month for our waste removal. Now we're at about half of that. We did lose a dumpster in the process, but it seems to be more efficient from our perspective. I ask that Waste Pro perform as well in the other parts of the city as they've been performing in my particular neighborhood. And if they do that, maybe we'll all be a little bit more satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, public hearing is now closed.
To answer the residents, I've requested, should this contract go forward, that we will hold a workshop for all of the residents to get acquainted with Waste Pro. Waste Pro, and this is part of the negotiations, is I'm requesting that Waste Pro be responsible for a mailing to all residents, letting them know what is required, what the routes are, how much you can put out, what you can and can't do. That would be one flyer, which I know they've done in the past. They've agreed to go to the homeowners meetings, but I will hold a workshop where everybody can attend. There's going to be a new app called Easy Track, where you get on your app and you report it. We will also have a phone number of our code compliance officer. You can call them directly, and he will take care of that. You will have a phone number. So I think we will be able to hold Waste Pro accountable, and if they don't, we now have fines for doing it. But I want everybody to know that we will educate everybody and tell them exactly what we have. Just want to make sure in our negotiations that I'm part of the clean team. We have $10,000 for swale beautification. I'm hoping that that $10,000 goes towards cleaning the swales. We have a lot of garbage, and we do have a new clean team, but we have to clean the city up. We've got garbage all over the place. We need to make sure that we have money and that they're going to be assisting us with the cleaning. It's not on here, but I believe that Waste Pro attends all of the city events and provides waste receptacles. I assume that is going to continue. And I've requested at our events, I would like a few extra receptacles. People have been making comments, and myself. It really hurts to see bottles and cans and all these plastic cups with the garbage. So I'm requesting that we have separate, and I've seen it at other events, separate recycle containers for those people who would like to be a little bit more environmentally conservative. And I had asked you, Mr. Sori, the cost to the residents now, what you told me, the cost to the residents on this contract is going to remain the same?
Yes.
Is that correct?
The current cost to the residents is $21.04
a month
per month. That cost will remain the same. I'll add that the city, the council has been supplementing that cost. The cost, the actual cost is approximately $23.67. So we basically supplement cost of about $315,000 in this new contract, where we stand right now with the negotiated rate of $27.89. And again, during the budget hearings, we did make the decision that we would not increase the rates for sanitation. That will attribute, well, to the residents is a savings of about $822,000. That number was higher before, but that number was attributed to the cost of our services, our mailing services and our billing services. So with that number removed, it's about $822,000 that the board is saving the residents of the city of North Miami.
So that's an additional 822,000 we are supplementing?
A total of 822,000 we are supplementing.
And we voted at our budget not to increase the waste bill and that the city would pick up the slack of that 822.
Yes.
So, okay. Thank you. I have no more questions.
And Mr. Mayor, okay, my first question is for Jim. This council, last time, I never had a chance to negotiate a Westport contract. The last one was in 2011. That's mean it's not, you won election, that's got nothing to do with election. The last Westport contract was in 2011. The contract is expired. Now it's about to get renewed. The only person who were here, it's Councilman Scott Galvin. He wasn't there, and we did not negotiate any contract about Westport. You voted against it, I understand that. But we want to remind him that we did not you were here, okay. That's been, I did not negotiate the previous one. That's the one we are negotiating. Secondly, Mr. Mayor, I think Councilman Alex Desulme has been a big advocate for better service when it comes to sanitation. And I feel like it's unfair, he's not here to be a part of this discussion about approving this contract and negotiate with Westport for another 5 years or for another 7 years. First of all, I don't agree with the 7 years contract, and I have question about it, but I will prefer that we wait until Councilman Desulme is here. We have a full council. He can express his concern, whether or not to approve it or reject the contract. I will give him that courtesy. That's why I will propose that we move this item until the next council, so he will have a chance to express himself in a 5 or 7 year contract with Westport. Before I ask any other questions, that will be my proposal.
I'll second that, but I'd like to throw in some comments and questions.
Right.
Because Councilman Bieneme brought up the exact same point. Mr. Desulme has advocated greatly for bringing this back in-house, and for this to be on the agenda tonight without him here, I think does a disservice. This is a 7-year contract with 3-year increments. This is if we engaged the young lady 4 or 5 years ago, we are now, getting married and going on that honeymoon if we approve this tonight. First off, Track EZ cannot be the be-all and end-all of how people complain. No matter what we wish and like and say and do, people are going to call their council members when there's a complaint. So if Track EZ is the only standard by which penalties can be administered, that's not good enough. Council complaints, requests from residents need to be added to that equation, because shame on any council member who simply says to a person when they call me, "Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Jones, I'm sorry your trash didn't get picked up today, but go on Track EZ and put in this information." That's a cop-out, that's lame, that's bad, cannot be where we end this. Because Track EZ exists now, and the reason I started to go in that direction. I try to give tech its opportunity. Waste Pro, manage Track EZ. So if something gets reported and doesn't get followed up on, we don't have any third-party way of following that. So
the Track EZ is actually a third-party software. It's not Waste Pro. It is a third-party software. And you're absolutely correct. Residents should be able to call the council persons But we will be trying to do a campaign to give out the phone number of our contract compliance manager. But when they call you and you call us, it will be input and track easy. That's going to be our make sure, and that's how we're going to track all of our complaints moving forward.
We certainly need, to, in my opinion, we need to add language that says council complaints on top of, including, are how we're going to track complaints. I cannot, I'm Mr. Tech Savvy, I love it, but I'm not going to ever tell a resident, I'm sorry, I can't process your complaint because it has to be done through this system. Same thing with our own app that we have as a city. People were marking complete things that weren't actually completed, and it would frustrate the resident even further. So I stopped referring people even to our own app, our Minomi app. So TrackEZ, nice, not enough. The commercial accounts are not addressed here. One of the big complaints I had 5-6 years ago was that we piggybacked on a Miramar contract that didn't quite, oh my gosh, this is why it's so hard for me to get past this item. How does this address commercial accounts going forward? Because the real money that Waste Pro is making is on the individually negotiated commercial contracts that they now have a monopoly on going forward. This is pennies on the dollar. Like, I'm stunned. We're asking for, we're allowing $1,250 scholarships, $1,250 scholarships, 2 of them. Man, $10,000 for swale restoration. Do you realize how much money these guys are making? These are peanuts, and I'm not happy with those dollar amounts. So first question is, how does this address commercial accounts and the monopoly they hold on commercial accounts?
Councilman, the commercial accounts will be individual contracts between the business owner and Waste Pro, and the amounts will vary based upon the size of the container.
I fully get that.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have. When we entered into this original contract, there were 4 or 5 different waste companies doing business within the city. We summarily, over a period of 2 to 3 years, pushed them all out and gave all commercial business. All commercial business now goes to Waste Pro. Are we saying that's done and it's never going to be renegotiated? I mean, if the commercial vendors, if our commercial residents don't like the deals that they have, I mean, they can negotiate with Waste Pro, but that's not a very fair market capitalist type of system. How do we come back to allowing them to negotiate with Waste Management or whomever else?
Well, through the mayor, the thing that keeps our cost to the residents down is
because they can hike it up on the commercial people. I get that.
When is it expired? The commercial contract.
It doesn't. That's the thing. According to this, it never expires.
The commercial contract, I believe, expires in
2020. The current contract.
Right.
2020. However,
but this extends it for another
this will
7
extend
years.
the commercial contract for another 7 years. What I will also follow up by saying is, this is particularly the reason we did get the only one bid in, because Waste Pro has it until 2020, the commercial, and everybody makes money on the commercial. So that's the reason we only got the one bid in. It wasn't because anybody did anything wrong. It was the commercial contract is not in at the same time.
So here's another issue that I have. It's not fair that we get, the commercial vendors can't vote. The residents can vote. We're keeping your prices low by throwing the price onto the commercial vendors. But that's going to push commercial entities potentially out of business because they have no choice. They don't have the ability. It's like FPL. FPL can do whatever they want to us because they have a monopoly, and they don't. There's nowhere else for us to go shop our electric to. Nobody in this city commercially can now shop their commercial rates to anybody but Waste Pro. And that business might be paying 2 separate rates to the same company because of the strength of the negotiations. This is inherently unfair to the commercial entities of this city, so we need to address that. If we're going to be fair, we need to be fair for our commercial people too, because they pay in whole a lot more in taxes overall than our residents do.
And Scott, we do vote. Commercial condominiums are included in that commercial condominiums, apartment complexes, etc.
But I'm saying when you say vote, you don't get to go to the ballot box and vote in May when we're going.
Like the apartments, the condos, like I pay the commercial rate on our building, so we do get the vote as well. But I get what you're saying.
But the ballot box, I'm saying
Yeah,
when
the
our
ballot
names
box
are
for
on the
elected
on the-
officials.
Right, that's where the vote is lacking. I'm as frustrated now as I was then that the commercial people are bearing the brunt of this, the fees here.